Hey there guys, how's it going? Back with another video. So Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez are going to be fighting for the undisputed light welterweight title. It's going to be coming up this May. Really looking forward to this fight, man. This is going to be a great fight. It's going to be a great spectacle. We've got two undefeated guys, both unified world champions, both really young and presumably in their prime, and both very determined. I was really looking forward to this fight, and yeah, hearing that this fight is now official, really excited for it. So let's talk about it. So, Josh Taylor, as you guys all know, he won the World Boxing Super Series, and in that tournament, he picked up two belts. He picked up the IBF belt from Ivan Baranchyk. He defeated Baranchyk on points in Glasgow, and of course, he won Regis Prograis' WBA title in the final, beating him on points in London. So he had a really, really good run in that tournament. He beat everybody. He had a good win over Ryan Martin, who was kind of an undefeated prospect, a little bit untested, but Josh Taylor completely demolished him in 7 rounds. And before the tournament, he had some good wins too. He took on Victor Postal, had some problems early on, but adjusted in the fight and knocked Victor Postal down and won the fight pretty clearly on points. And before that, of course, he had some good wins, like he beat Winston Campos, who was a kind of an experienced like C-class fighter. He also beat Ahura Davis, who was an undefeated contender slash prospect at the time. So Josh Taylor, in just 17 pro fights, has had a phenomenal career and has taken on some formidable competition. As for Jose Ramirez, he's had a pretty good career himself. He's had some close and competitive fights too. Like for example, his last fight, he had a really tough fight with Victor Postal, who of course Josh Taylor also beat. And he had some problems with Jose Zepeda too. Some people contested both of those decisions, but he got through the fights. They were very close, and he showed a lot of stamina and a lot of heart in those fights. And yeah, he did a good job. You know, he's the WBC and the WBO champion. He had a knockout victory over Maurice Hooker, which was the unification fight. That was a great fight while it lasted. And yeah, of course, Maurice Hooker was a big, tall, awkward, ungainly guy with some good boxing skills. And Jose Ramirez was able to walk him down and stop him. So this is a great fight, man. Two guys in their prime, two guys motivated and coming for glory, man. Both of these guys seem hungry. You know, there was no talk of A-sides and purse splits and all that stuff. These guys just wanted to get it on and they wanted to fight. So how do I think this one's going to go? When I look at both of these guys, to me, Josh Taylor brings more to the table. Both guys have a lot of attributes that they can lay claim to. For example, both guys can punch. Both guys have got very good stamina. Both guys appear to have a good chin. And both guys are tremendous body punchers. But to me, Josh Taylor just takes all that to a new level. I think that Josh Taylor, in his career, has proven himself in terms of the sense that he's been chin checked. Like, for example, when he fought Postal, he was hurt early on in that fight, and he could have easily fallen apart and could have done so due to his lack of experience. But he hung in there and he figured out the angles and he managed to outwork and outbox Victor Postal. So I think he really got chin checked in that fight. He also got badly hurt a couple of times by Regis Prograis later on in that fight, and he managed to hang on and win the fight even with an eye injury. So Josh Taylor to me has been chin checked at world level, and he's proven himself. Okay, I mean he took some heavy shots early on against Baranchyk and managed to come back and score 2 knockdowns and win the fight. You know, when he fought O'Hara Davis, you know, that was a big step up for him, you know, against like a rival prospect slash contender. And he handled that situation really well and he completely obliterated O'Hara Davis, completely outboxed and walked him down and forced him to quit, stopped him in 7 rounds. So Josh Taylor to me just has been proven at a slightly higher level than Ramirez has. We know Josh Taylor's got an incredible chin. We know that he's got incredible stamina. We know he can punch. We know he can work the body. And we know that he's quite versatile. He can box on the outside. He can box on the inside, pivoting and getting right up on your chest and landing hooks and uppercuts to your body and head. And he's shown a really versatile and really effective style in there. As for Ramirez, Ramirez seems a little bit more conventional to me. He's your typical come forward, Mexican brawler who really winds up those hooks and works the body. He kind of reminds me a little bit of like a Ricky Hatton, but with slightly better defense and a slightly better chin. I definitely think he's a better fighter than Ricky Hatton was, but yeah, I just see a few similarities there. The way that he kind of gets inside and really whips in those hooks to the body. Very powerful puncher and a very aggressive fighter. And he has some skills of his own too. I'm sure he can box. We know that he can fight for 12 rounds. We know he's got good stamina too and a good chin. So it's a great fight, man. But to me, when I look at both of these guys, I just think that the more versatile of the two is Josh Taylor. I think that Josh Taylor to me just has more of a proven track record in these types of fights. I mean, when I look at Jose Ramirez, I don't know if Jose Ramirez has the kind of attributes that Josh Taylor hasn't fought before. For example, we know that Ivan Baranchyk was a good pressure fighter with good power and stamina and an okay chin. We know that Regis Prograis has those things: good power, good chin, good stamina, good boxing skills, and Josh Taylor was able to handle both of those guys. So we don't know really if Ramirez is the best opponent that Josh Taylor has fought yet, because it's very likely, to be honest, that Prograis might be a better fighter. But in regards to Ramirez, I definitely think Josh Taylor is the best fighter he will have fought. So this is a step up for him. I don't really think it's a step up for Josh Taylor. So when I look at these two guys and how they match up and how this fight will probably go, I think this fight will probably be competitive early on. I think both guys will have their moments. But I think as long as the fight lasts, Josh Taylor will be figuring things out. He will be the one getting his jab in from the outside. He seems to be better from the outside. He will be the guy who's more accurate inside with his pivots and the way he really turns over those hooks and uppercuts. And, he can hit you with that uppercut to the body. Then he can kind of slip under your punch and land a right hook. Like Ramirez likes to throw the left hook. And I can see Josh Taylor kind of doing what he did to Ahara Davis and Ryan Martin, where he would slip under the left hook and throw a right hook counter. And he can throw it either to the body or head with equal effect. So I think that Josh Taylor, when I look at this fight, let's say this fight is on neutral territory, then I think Josh Taylor's going to win in a pretty hard fought decision and maybe a late stoppage. But what concerns me about the fight is the fact that the fight's in Las Vegas. So it's going to be on a top ranked card in Las Vegas, and we know how hard it is to get a decision against a top level Mexican champion in America, particularly if you're a fighter from Europe. So that's going to be difficult. I don't think Josh Taylor is going to have any favors on the scorecards. I don't think that it's going to be easy for him to get the decision. But then again, you could have said the same thing about Baranchyk and Postal and guys like that when they fought Taylor, because they had to fight him in Scotland. So it's a similar situation to what they were in. But yeah, I'm concerned about the judging, because the judging in Las Vegas, particularly in some of these big cards, man, has been really bad in recent years. So I'm hoping that Josh Taylor and his team are focused on winning the fight and clearly and putting serious daylight between him and Ramirez, or hopefully getting a stoppage. So I'm going to go with Josh Taylor by a decision or a late stoppage, but I think that there's a strong possibility he might get robbed because of the fights in Vegas again. And Ramirez is obviously the top rank new hope, basically. He's the guy that they're trying to build up to be their next pay-per-view star, along with the likes of Crawford and whatnot. So I think it's going to be a tough ask for Josh Taylor to get a fair decision. So I'm just hoping that everything's fair, and I'm hoping that he can win the fight convincingly. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Josh Taylor. I made no secret of that, but yeah, that's how I see this fight, man. I think that it's a great fight, but I think that Josh Taylor is the better fighter of the two, personally. And I just think that it's one of them fights that is going to be really entertaining while it lasts. I think that Taylor, to me, if he can keep it at long range when he needs to, but then, of course, when Ramirez manages to get close, then start working the body and pivoting and landing that counter right hook and stuff like that. I think if he can fight like that for the whole 12 rounds, he could win the fight convincingly on points, or maybe even force a late stoppage. But the problem is he's going to be in Vegas, so it's going to be difficult for him to get a points decision over there. So, yeah, it's a good fight, man. I'm really looking forward to it. May the best man win. Good luck to both guys. And yeah, I really hope that it's a good fight. And obviously I'm rooting for Josh Taylor, but like I said, may the best guy win. So yeah, I'm going with Josh Taylor on points or a late stoppage, with the added concern about the scoring, the judges and whatnot. The scoring may be a problem, but that's how I see this fight. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and God bless.